Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते स्वारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्य देशतारिणे पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त। हरे कृष्णा। We welcome all of you to a today's session for studying Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 5, text 23 onwards. So, we have recited all the verses of this chapter, and from till text 22, we saw glories of bhakti, how devotional service to Lord is the only ultimate solution and ultimate activity for the living beings that we have read till that. Now, text 23 onward, Narada Muni recites and narrates his previous life. So, mainly the storyline will go. Before this birth, Narada was a beautiful Gandharva named Upabarhana. That comes in 7th canto, chapter 15, text 69 to 73. He was cursed by the Prajapatis to become a Shudra in the womb of a maidservant for his frivolity in a Sankirtana festival to glorify the Supreme Lord. Yet, by repeatedly engaging in the service of devotees, he became the son of Brahma in his next birth. Okay, the 14 stages of bhakti mentioned by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in 1, 2, 16 to 20, which we discussed in second chapter discussions classes, are seen in the life of Narad Muni. We have seen that in second chapter. Now all these things are seen in Narad Muni's life. Okay. O Muni, in the last millennium, I was born as the son of a certain maidservant engaged in the service of Brahmanas, who were following the principles of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of rainy season, I was engaged in the personal service. So he said that during the time of Chaturmasya, these great sages, they don't travel. They stay in one place and they do bhajan. They are sadhana, they are practice of spiritual path. So he stayed there and they were devotees. They are not some other any kind of transcendental. They are devotees. So the living entities are the marginal energy of the Lord, and therefore they are meant for being properly utilized in transcendental loving service of the Lord. So when this is not done, it's called Maya. What is Maya? Maya is that which takes us away from Krishna. Maya is that which denies the existence of Krishna. Maya is that which forgets Krishna. So forgetfulness of Krishna can be called Maya, or thinking of something else other than Krishna is also can also be called as Maya. Ritartam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani in Chatishloki Bhagavatam, that says that. Yeah. Without Krishna, like thinking of other existence other than Krishna is called Maya. Service of the devotee is more valuable than service of the Lord. That's another important principle we learn here. Service to devotee is more important. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnu aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. Tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. So, service of the devotee is more valuable than service of the Lord. Lord Shiva said this to Parvati, that my dear Devi, amongst all kind of worship of Lord Vishnu is the highest, topmost. And amongst, like more than that, is serving his devotees. Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadiyanam Samarchanam. More than that, better than that, higher than that is serving his devotees. Tadiyanam Samarchanam. The service of the bona fide spiritual master, the Lord consents to reveal himself in proportion to the service rendered. So utilization of the human energy in the service of the Lord is the progressive path of salvation. The whole cosmic creation becomes at once identical with the Lord as soon as service in relation with the Lord is rendered under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Service to the Lord under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master is very important. Now in text 24, it talks about, so this 14 stages in bhakti. Satam kripa mahat seva shraddha guru padashraya. You remember we discussed this in chapter 2. Yeah. So this was the table in chapter 2. It's text 16 to 21. Bhakti progresses. 14 stages and 9 stages, verses 9 and the 9 verses and 9 stages. Shraddha, Sadhu, Sangha, Bhajan, Kriya, all of them. And here 14 stages of bhakti. Starting from Satam Kripa and Mahat Seva, Shraddha, Guru Padashraya, Bhajaneshu Spriha, Bhaktihi, Anartha Upagamam, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Rati and Prema, Darshanam and Hared Madhurya Anubhava, experiencing the Madhurya of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so these stages appear here. The Bhaktivedanta's first show mercy on Narada was not because of his good qualities. By their mercy, Narada developed those qualities, which is in turn became the cause of further mercy. So, why did the Bhaktivedanta show mercy on Narada? Is it Narada Muni was qualified? That's why they were blessed? No, their mercy itself is the cause of getting these qualities in Narada. Although they were impartial by nature, those followers of the Vedanta blessed me with their causeless mercy. So, see, causeless mercy. Causeless mercy means which doesn't have any cause. Even to unfit person also it's given. As far as I was concerned, I was self-controlled and had no attachment for sports. Even though I was a boy, in addition, I was not naughty and I did not speak more than required. I did not speak what was more than what was required. So, Tatparya in the purport Srila Prabhupada talks about Sambandha Vidaya and Prayojana. What is Sambandha? That is to establish our relationship with Supreme Lord. What is Avidaya? To serve the Supreme Lord, being situated in that Sambandha, in the relationship with Him. And what is Prayojana? Is to attain the ultimate goal, back to Godhead. Achieve that. Sambandha Vidaya Prayojana. Then Prabhupada talked about Vedic Gurukula and education system. The Vedantavadis initiated the boy even before he became self-controlled and was detached from childish sporting. But before the initiation, the boy became more and more advanced in discipline. which is very essential for one who wishes to make progress in the flying. Gurukul system. So Prabhupada also talks about disciplinary. Without being disciplinary and without being fully obedient, none can become successful. See, without being self-control, being disciplinary and all, no one can become successful in following the instruction of spiritual master. And without doing so, no one is able to go back to Godhead. No one can go back to Godhead. Now, then in text 25, it talks about what's the result of honoring Vaishnava Chishta or remnants of Vaishnava. And as far as the 14th stage is concerned, it talk about Bhajaneshu Spriha, Bhakti, Anarthapagamam, and Nishtha and Ruchi. These stages. Once only, by their permission, I took the remnants of their food, and by so doing, all my sins were at once eradicated. Thus, being engaged, I became purified in heart, and at the time, the very nature of the transcendentalist became attractive to me. That became attractive to me. So, pure devotion is as much infectious in a good sense as infectious disease. A pure devotee is cleared from all kinds of sins. The personality of Godhead is the purest entity, and unless one is equally pure from the infection of material qualities, one cannot become a pure devotee of the Lord. One cannot become a pure devotee of the Lord unless he is fully situated. So, only by their permission, he took their remnants. See, just taking once, and that's sufficient. All his sins were eradicated. Such remnants may be taken even without permission of the pure devotees. Okay, so now in text 26, what we see is with asakti and rati bhava, these stages are also being discussed. So in the 25th purport, Prabhupada talks, says that this is like contagious disease. He says this is like contagious disease. It's infectious, pure devotion. So we take association of devotees, we get infections. It's like infection. Good infection. Like we have good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, different thing they say in our body. Something which is good, which is required. So similarly, good infection, which is required for us. And taking remnants, Prabhupada says that such remnants can be maybe taken without permission of the pure devotees. We can take it after service, but not like jumping and snatching it away from them. Okay, Guru Maharaj is it only, oh, I'll just snatch and run. No, but having that mood to serve. Oh, this is nice verse. Tatranvaham Krishna Katha Pragayatam Anugrahena Shinavam Manoharaha. Oh, Vyasdeva, in that association by the mercy of those great Vedantists, I could hear them describe the attractive activities of the Lord Krishna, and thus, listening attentively, my taste for hearing the personality of God had increased at every step. So, more we listen, more we get attracted to listen about Krishna. It's not that, okay, it's ended, it ends. Oh, I have heard enough Krishna Katha, no need of that more anymore. Enough is done. No. The more we listen, we want to listen more. So Sri Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, is not only attractive in his personal feature, but also in his transcendental activities. Uchishchalepan anumodita dvijay sakritsma bhunje tadapasta kilvishaha evam prabrittasya vishuddha chetasas tad dharma evatma ruchi prajayate. That's another wonderful verse. Uh, what we say so earlier also. Oh, that's the previous verse. To this page goes repeated here. Yeah, 26. Tatranvaham Krishna Katha Pragayatam. Yeah, that's correct. So Prabhupada talks about in the purport reason for Lord's appearance and glories of hearing about him. Text 27. Atmagyana. O great sage, as soon as I got a taste of the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching. And as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I had accepted gross and subtle coverings. For both the Lord and I are transcendental. So that's the thing. That's called self-realization. More we hear Krishna Katha, more we know Krishna, and that's self-realization. So Prabhupada talks about subtle and gross body. Yeah, that's important purport actually. In this purport, Prabhupada talks about this. See, subtle, since the gross and subtle bodies are emanations from the personality of Godhead, the knowledge of light permits one to engage both of them in the service of the Lord. The gross body should be engaged in acts of rendering service to the Lord, as in bringing water, cleansing the temple, or making obeisances. The path of archana, or worshipping the Lord in the temple, involves engaging one's gross body in the service of the Lord. Similarly, the subtle mind should be engaged in the hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, thinking about them, chanting his name, etc. So point is, we have gross body, which consists of this earth, air, water, ether, fire, 5 elements, and subtle body, mind, intelligence, ego, 3 elements. So with our gross body, we are serving the Lord, okay, bringing water, cleansing the temple, making obeisances, doing dham parikrama, circumambulating the Lord, and doing book distribution, chanting and dancing in the kirtan, and cooking for the Lord, deity worship. So many things we are doing. These are the gross body. But this gross body might not work all the time, specifically when we are like elder in age, 60, 70 years old. Gross body stops working, or it reduces to work. Function of gross body reduces. But subtle body, that becomes more and more at that time active, like because our mind becomes restless. When we have nothing to do, elder age, 70 years old, just lying on bed, mind becomes so fickle, like just think of these, that, you know, idle mind. So subtle body, the idea of engaging our gross body in Krishna consciousness is that gross body, subtle body will follow gross body, and then our mind should be engaged in Krishna consciousness. If that's not there, just we are doing devotional service with gross body, subtle body is not engaged, then that's not actual devotional service. Devotional service means along with gross body, mainly to engage subtle body primarily. So that's mind. So chanting and hearing about Krishna is called service of subtle body, devotional service of subtle body, thinking of Krishna. You read Bhagavad Gita, what is the main theme of Bhagavad Gita? Again and again and again, Krishna says main thing, think of me, think of me, think of me. Manmanaho madbhakta madhyajana namaskuru. Give your mind to me, intelligence to me. Maya vesha mano yasmin mayi buddhim niveshaya. Give your mind, give your intelligence to me. Give your subtle body to me. So Krishna wants our subtle body, not our gross body. So that's why you should go on hearing and chanting about Krishna, and Krishna Katha should be our main refuge. Thus, during two seasons, the rainy season and autumn, I had the opportunity to hear these great souled sages constantly chant the unadulterated glories of Lord Hari. As my devotional service began, the coverings of the modes of passion and ignorance vanished. During two seasons, rain season and autumn season, I had the opportunity to do this. Hmm. Yeah. The more we heard about Krishna, the more I became attached to Krishna. Transcendental living service of the Lord is the natural inclination of every living being. The instinct is dormant in everyone, but due to the association of material nature, the modes of passion and ignorance covered this form from time immemorial is going on. So, in this purport, nicely Prabhupada talks that how from bhakti pravaho, the incessant flow of bhakti can help us surpass the incessant flow of three gunas of material world. Bhakti pravaha and guna pravaha. Guna pravahe tasmin koshapana kanu tadbudaha. There's another beautiful verse in uh, Srimad Bhagavatam. Guna pravahe tasmin. Guna, guna pravaha etasmin. 6.7.20 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Guna pravaha etasmin ka shapah kanu anugraha kon vugraha ka swarga narakah kova kim sukham dukhameva. This material world resembles the waves of constantly flowing river. Therefore, what is curse and what is favor? What are the heavenly planets and what are the hellish planets? What is actually happiness and what is actually distress? Because the waves flow constantly, none of them has an eternal effect. Material world resemble the waves of constantly flowing river. Guna pravaho etasmin ka kanu anugraha kahnu anugraha ka kah swarga narakah kova kim sukham dukkham evava. What is happiness? What is distress? What is everything is like nothing has eternal effect. Comes goes, comes goes. So how to come out of that is bhakti. So once we get the blessings of pure devotees, by their blessing, God's mercy, we get their association, and then we get to hear about them. They are spotless glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then we get incessant flow of bhakti, such flow of devotional service that can help us from this flow of this material moods. Okay, after saying that, now text 29, see 30-31, the sages bestow the most confidential knowledge to Narada. I was very much attached to those sages. I was gentle in behavior, and all my sins were eradicated in their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind. So such a candidate must seek always the association of pure devotees. Such pure devotees, like one who can one get that association. So actually, this verse talks about the duty of a disciple, what disciple should do. See, quality of a disciple or duty of a disciple. Disciple should be gentle in behavior, hmm, gentle in behavior. He should be attached to his guru, and all his sins done thus that will get eradicated in their service. Mm. And he should have strong faith in spiritual master, and he should subjugate his senses, and he should strictly follow. So these are the qualities of a disciple. One should not be misled by a pseudo devotee. He himself must be plain and gentle to receive the instructions of such a pure devotee. A neophyte devotee must faithfully serve the pure devotee, and he should be very much obedient and strictly follow the instructions. As they were living those Bhakti Vedantas who are very kind to poor hearted souls, instructed me in that most confidential subject, which is instructed by the personality of Godhead Himself. So they were living, and then they imparted that most confidential knowledge to Narad Muni. So now in this text, we see in text 29, we can find out, we can say this is the, why it's not typing? Duty of the disciple. Okay. Now this talks about Guru. Hmm? So disciple should be like how? He should be like this, text 29, attached to the sages and gentle in behavior and all these things, faith in them. And Guru should be like, Guru should do this, means Guru will do that. It's up to Guru, Guru will do that. They will, kind and poor hearted. Spiritual master is kind to the poor hearted souls, kind to poor hearted souls. And then they will instruct most confidential subject. So that Guru's part, Guru will do. Tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnana sevaya. These are disciples' duty. And then upadakshanti te jnanam yadinas tattva darshana, that is Guru's duty. And of course, Guru is not obligated that, okay, you must do that, you must give me. No. So that's what, by our humility, we attract that blessings of spiritual master, and that's causeless mercy. We can't even attract that to our humility. Also, it's causeless means causeless. Like we can't just do on our own. A spiritual master and pure devotee, they can bless on their own causelessly. So Prabhupada talks here confidential knowledge, more confidential knowledge, and most confidential knowledge. So about Brahman, knowledge of Brahman is confidential knowledge, and then knowledge of Paramatma is more confidential, and knowledge of the Supreme Personality of God, that's most confidential, Jnanam. See, confidential, more confidential, most confidential. Prabhupada talks about that. Mm. Okay. Now in text 31, he says, what's the result or what is the influence of this confidential knowledge or most confidential knowledge? By that confidential knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of the energy of Lord Sri Krishna, the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of everything. And knowing that I could return to him and personally meet him by devotional service or by the most confidential knowledge, one can understand very easily how the different energies of the Lord are working. One part of energy is manifesting the material world, the other part of his energy is manifesting the spiritual world, and the via medium energy is manifesting the living entities who are serving either of the above mentioned energies. The living entities serving material energy are struggling hard for the existence of happiness and happiness, which is presented to them as illusion, but those in the spiritual energy are placed under the direct service of the Lord in eternal life, complete knowledge, and perpetual bliss. A concrete example is Narada himself, who attained this stage of eternal knowledge and eternal bliss. So, Antaranga, Bahiranga, and Tatastha, internal, external, and marginal energies. And Prabhupada also talks about liberated jivas and conditioned jivas. So now from text 32 to 36, the process of karma yoga is being discussed. Karma yoga. How can karma, the cause of samsara, destroy the threefold miseries and all that? Then Narada teaches his personal mantra. O Brahmana Vyasdev, it is decided by the learned that the best remedial measure for removing all troubles and miseries is to dedicate one's activities to the service of the Supreme Lord, personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. That's the best remedy for removing all the troubles and miseries, is to dedicate one's activities. Kritapa chikitsa, we can say. Etat samshuchitam brahmam tapatraya chikitsitam. Tapatraya, tritapa, tapatraya chikitsitam. What are the tapatraya chikitsa? How to get a remedy for this tapatraya? Three miseries are what? Yadishvare Bhagavati karma brahmani bhavitam. Everything surrender to Krishna. These wonderful, amazing verses we can memorize, try to memorize them, remember them. And we can keep on remembering them. They're so beautiful. That can give us inspiration in our difficult times and when we are going to mental troubles and all. These verses can give us shelter. Now Narada Muni is saying his sharing his personal experience. He personally experienced the most feasible and practical way to open the path of salvation or get relief from all miseries of life is to hear submissively transcendental activities of the Lord from the right and bona fide sources. This is the only remedial process. The entire material existence is full of miseries. Only remedial process is that tapatra chikitsitam. Now Prabhupada also quotes this verse, paraphrases this verse from Prahlad Maharaj's Prarthana, Prahlad Maharaj's prayers. Valasya neha sharanam pitaro narsimha nartasya chagada mudan vatamajjato no taptasya tat pratibidhirya ihanjasestas tavad vibhotanubhritam tadupekshitanam. That if the Supreme Lord ignores, then a strong boat cannot save us from the ocean. Expert physician cannot save us from death by his giving so many medicines and all. Parents cannot save a kid. Try to study the energy of the Lord in every sphere of life. Do not decray him and try to become like him or take his position simply by fragmental accumulation of knowledge. No, we cannot do that. So, Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate controller, authority of everything. No matter what we do, we cannot surpass him, bypass him. So that's why that's our ultimate goal, ultimate activity. Prabhupada is saying here that everyone should just surrender to him and listen to Krishna Katha. That's the ultimate refuge. Krishna Katha is the ultimate solution, remedy actually, to get out of material platform, material nature, material activities. But alternative way, if someone cannot get that opportunity to surrender fully and sit and listen to Krishna Katha whole life, then alternative way is Prabhupada giving here is that whatever is our whatever our attachment is, we should engage them in Krishna service. And that means Krishna Karmarpana. Try to engage Lakshmi in the service of Narayana and be happy. Wealth is considered Lakshmi. Some Suchitam in this stanza is very significant. If one is learned scholar, scientist, philosopher, poet, he should employ his learning to establish the supremacy of the Lord. Now, in text 33, we come there and Prabhupada gives, Narad Muni gives an analogy that a good soul does not a thing applied therapeutically cure a disease. O good soul, does not a thing applied therapeutically cure a disease which was caused by that very same thing? What does this mean? This means that analogy is given that an expert physician treats his patient with a therapeutic diet. For example, milk preparation sometimes cause disorder of the bowels, but the very same milk converted into curd and mixed with some other remedial ingredients cures such disorders. Similarly, the threefold miseries of the material existence cannot be mitigated simply by material activities. Such activities have to be spiritualized, just as by fire the iron is made red hot. Iron is made red hot. So, like milk product, if we take lots of ghee and paneer, we get stomach upset. Then we need to take another milk product, which is yogurt or curd. Actually, yogurt and curd is different. That's why in India we get curd, dahi, or buttermilk. So Prabhupada gives example in the purport also. This example, two examples. One is of milk product, another is fire and iron. Iron gets the quality of fire. If iron is burnt in fire and it's hot, then it also becomes fiery. It can also burn something. Now he's saying in text 34 how to destroy this 34, how to destroy this tree of work, karma vriksha. Thus, when all a man's activities are dedicated to the service of the Lord, those very activities which caused his bondage become the destroyer of the tree of work. They become the destroyer of the tree of work. So cut down the tree of work by engaging it in Krishna service. So in paragraph 1, Prabhupada talks and he compares sakam karma, fruitive work, to the Ashwata Vriksha. And then in paragraph 2, Prabhupada, the summary is given. The summary is that one has to first of all seek the association of pure devotees. One not very learned. First of all, association of pure devotees. Secondly, one should try to serve with his body and mind, loving service to Lord. And then thirdly, he will get the blessings of pure devotees. And fourthly, mm, even if in the within the heart of third class, a neophyte devotee, he will get all the transcendental qualities of a pure devotee, of pure devotional service. Then fifthly, he will get attachment to hear Krishna Katha. And then sixthly, he will realize a subtle and gross body, their real identity. Then seventhly, he will realize pure soul, the identity of constitutional position of pure soul. Then eighthly, he will realize transcendental relationship between Krishna and Jivatma. And then ninthly, thus his pure devotional service will progress in him. And finally, in 10th point, he will surpass the stage of impersonal Brahman and the super soul, and he will get pure transcendental realization. Nicely Prabhupada summarizes everything. Okay, 35. Now, whatever work is done here in this life or for the satisfaction of the mission of the Lord is called Bhakti Yoga or transcendental loving service of the Lord. And what is called knowledge becomes a concomitant factor. Bhakti Yoga or concomitant factor. Jnana is subordinate or concomitant factor of Bhakti. Now in purport, Prabhupada, he talks about how devotional service, Bhakti, is independent from Jnana. In other way, Jnana and Karma are subordinate to Bhakti. That's the main theme of this purport. Okay. Kriya Yoga, Karma Yoga, and different things, how they are all like as a knowledge, being devoted of Bhakti or satisfaction of the Lord knowledge cannot lead one back to Godhead. So Bhakti is the main thing. Yeah. Nashkarma Pyachyuta Bhava Varjitam, 12th verse of this chapter. Now text 36. Yeah. He says, while performing duties according to the order of Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one constantly remembers him, his names and qualities. Constantly remembers him. So one should remember Krishna constantly while doing action also. Krishna Smarana. In this purport, Prabhupada, he compares serving the Lord and demigod worship. And he says that even if someone worships demigods, but there also one needs to worship Vishnu. Like in Durga Puja, they worship Durga and all. There, first of all, they will install a Shalagram Shila and worship Lord Vishnu, and then or they will worship Durga. But in paragraph 2, Prabhupada discusses, he writes how remembering Krishna is important while doing every activities. Echoes with the shloka. In paragraph 3, Prabhupada says to donate and give everything, major portion of our monetary income, not less than 50%, not less than, more than 50%, we should give for serving Krishna. And he said such kind of spiritual activities where we have dancing and singing and nice feast. So everybody would like to take part in that. So we should have more programs and festivals. But condition is that these festivals, these programs should be done under the guidance of pure devotees. And one should stay, like, be situated in your own house, your family life, wherever you are, sthana sthita, and continue to engage in Krishna consciousness. Jnane prayasa mudapasya namanti eva jivadni sadmukharitam bhavadiya varta. Okay. Now text 37 says, Namaskar to Chaturbhiha, the four quadruple incarnations. Nice verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumnaya Niruddhyaya Namaha Sankarshanaya Cha. This is the mantra Narad Muni is teaching us. Let us chant the glories of Vasudeva along with his plenary expansions, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshana. The first paragraph says the four quadruple incarnations, Chaturbhiha, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, glorify, discuss about them. Second paragraph, Prabhupada talks about the Vedic mantra, hymns, Omkara, transcendental process. Paragraph 3, Prabhupada says about the Swarupa of Bhakti. What is Bhakti actually? And paragraph 4, Prabhupada says the secret of success for Sutta Goswami. That Sutta Goswami got this 33 syllable mantra in his heart. Sutta's achievement. Okay, so now text 38, he says, who is a real knowledgeable person. Thus, he is the actual seer, worships in the form of transcendental sound representation the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who has no material form. So, who is the actual seer? Who can understand and worship Lord Vishnu? So, Prabhupada talks various things. He talks about transcendental sound vibration in this purport, gives example analogy that how sound can be heard in is a long play, like we can talk on mobile phone from one place to another place, America and India. So how sound vibration can reach from here to Krishna Loka? Why not? The phone number of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And he talks about the Pancharatric process of worshipping Krishna, his deity form. Now, text 39 talks about how from Jnana to Aishwarya to Prema, knowledge to his greatness, to his sweetness, his love for him. A Brahmana, thus by Supreme Lord Krishna, I was endowed first with transcendental knowledge of the Lord as inculcated in the confidential parts of Vedas, then with spiritual opulences, and then with his intimate loving service. Jnana to Aishwarya to Prema. Those who surrendered to Krishna and spiritual master, then gradually they progress and come to the level of spiritual realization, prema. Prabhupada discusses that. He is devotee accepted in the confidential entourage of the Lord and is entrusted with specific service of the Lord through the agency of the spiritual master. Now, ultimate instruction, text 40. Please, therefore, describe the Almighty Lord's activities which you have learned by your vast knowledge of the Vedas, for that will satisfy the hankerings of great learned men and at the same time mitigate the miseries of the masses of common people who are always suffering from material pangs. Indeed, there is no other way to get out of such miseries, no other way. So just glorify the Supreme Lord. That's the only way. That's the only way. That's the only way. Srila Prabhupada in the purport talks about 8 kind of people, human being, from Bhagavad Gita 7 chapter 15-16. Artha artharthu jigyasu gyanicha bharatarshava and namam duskritida mura prapadyanti naradhama. Those 4 kind of people who are good and 4 kind of people who are bad. So that's how Prabhupada concludes this purport and this chapter also. So thus end The Bhaktivedanta purpose, the first canto, 5th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Narada's Instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadeva. Okay, so we'll go ahead in next chapter.